Federal Premium Ammunition, surgical precision, terminal results. Bushnell, performance is the only thing. Safari Club International Canada, first for hunters.
This week I'm pursuing small game species right around my hometown of Falkland, British Columbia. Firstly, I'm pursuing some grouse species, and then helping out some landowners and thinning out the coyote population. So let's get started with a couple juvenile blue grouse I've spotted on the side of a Forest Service road. Well, we're just out for literally a nice Sunday afternoon drive and doing something that I used to do as a kid, and it's what got me started. My grandpa and my dad would start, hunting in the morning for deer, and then once it got too late for deer, it became my time to hunt for grouse. So that's what we're doing. We're hunting for grouse. We just flushed up a couple grouse that were in here. One was sitting in a tree and I just got, and I know the other one's around here somewhere. I don't know if it's walked off, flew off, or whatever, but let's go back in and see if we can find my grouse. We get so hung up on big game, and literally, like I was just telling my wife, because she's with me behind the camera, I can't even remember the last time I hunted grouse. I mean, literally I would have been just young or taking my kids out, but that's it. We got two grouse here. I'm gonna go grab this one, so I'm just gonna put the gun on safety. Well, here you go. These are actually juvenile grouse. They're not adults. These actually would have been born this spring, hence why they're a little bit smaller size and they don't have the plumage like the adult females and males. Still, not going to complain. These are going to be absolutely amazing eating, and we're going to keep going for some grouse here. Awesome. It wasn't far down the road and up a little more elevation that I came across my first spruce grouse. He was gathering small rocks for his crop on the side of the road. As I was walking up the road to retrieve my spruce grouse, I noticed that it was not alone. However, it scooted off into the trees before I could get a shot, so I slowly moved forward to find it. Well, here you go. These are what you call spruce grouse, or some people refer to them as Franklin. And actually, growing up as kids, we called them fool hens. They're a real high elevational species of grouse. they're not the sharpest tool in the shed. Usually if you come across a covey of them, it isn't too hard to be able to take most out of the covey. They just have a high tolerance and a low fear capacity. So, but they are fantastic eating. They have a darker meat than most other grouse species. Right here you can see I've got a beautiful male, has the nice red eye patch on it, and then this is the female, which is a very bland looking grouse. As a matter of fact, sometimes it can be easily confused with a rough grouse. We are up very high elevation right now. That was a lot of fun. I forgot, this was kind of the grouse I got my start on, because the rough grouse and the blue grouse tend to be a lot more spooky, whereas these guys here kind of hang around. So when you're a young kid trying to learn, and you shoot and miss 2 or 3 times, they'll stick around for you to be able to get them. So I really encourage anybody's out in British Columbia, this is the perfect kind of grouse to teach your kids on, because they're, again, they have a little bit more tolerance and they don't scare as easily, even if the kids are missing. But well, I can't wait to get these back into the frying pan. Well, that's it for my first day of chasing grouse in the mountains. I got 2 blue grouse, 2 spruce grouse, and I finished the day off with a rough grouse. Time to go home now and make grouse fingers for the wife and kids.
This segment is brought to you by Federal Premium Ammunition, Surgical Precision, Terminal Results.
Well, it's my second day of going after some grouse here in my hometown of Falkland. This time I'm joined by my son Denver and my good friend John Kajushka. It wasn't long until we stumbled across our first grouse. That was a nice big mature blue grouse. I got him, but what you can't see here is it's vertical, so I'm gonna have to get the gun safe and head down there and find my blue grouse. Blue grouse really love this steep vertical country, and it was funny, we were just talking about it earlier on, about saying that this is this perfect country for blue grouse, and boom, we come across 2. There was actually another one that flushed out of here. But we did get the one, so I'm going to head on down, safety the gun, and head on down and grab that grouse. Yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said vertical country. There we go. Big, beautiful, mature blue grouse. That is big. It's our largest grouse here in British Columbia, and fantastic eating too. That's awesome. One for the stew pot.
Today we'll be looking at some native game birds of BC, namely the grouse species that we have. One way to tell the difference between an introduced upland game bird such as a pheasant or a chukka or a Hungarian partridge is you look at the legs of your native upland grouse, upland game birds. Again, they will have fully feathered legs. These species have to be very hardy, being non-migratory. Right? They don't undertake any long distance migrations at the very minimal. So they need to be, again, adapted to the inclement conditions of wintertime. So I have 5 representatives here today of the 9 different grouse species that you can expect to find in different portions of BC. Right here we have what is traditionally called the prairie grouse. This is the sharp-tailed grouse, right? And this is kind of the cowboy of the grouse world, right? They like open countries. However, even though they were traditionally characterized as a prairie grouse, they're just found in open areas, right? So it could even be found in, say, boreal forested habitats, such as bogs, pine barrens, and sandlands. Next we have a true forest grouse species. This is the rough grouse, known for its delicious table fare. So this is a forest grouse of more mixed wood forest, right? You need a good complement of deciduous trees such as aspens, birches, and willows, and that will form a mainstay of their year-round diet, the buds of those species. Okay, and similar to its name right here, the spruce grouse, obviously this is a species that would reside in more coniferous forests. Their mainstay throughout the year would be eating spruce needles, right, which is a very ubiquitous food for them throughout the year. Here we have a large grouse, and this is the blue grouse, but this has now been split into two separate species, right? It's gone kind of back and forth taxonomically. So the blue grouse is kind of an elevation specialist, right? But the two species that have been separated into now are the dusky grouse, which you find more in the interior mountainous regions and the eastern portions of BC. And then we have the sooty grouse that's found in the western mountainous regions, the coastal regions really, and the insular mountainous regions. Okay, and then we have this well-adapted bird here, the ptarmigan. There's actually 3 different species of ptarmigan. Okay, there's the white-tailed ptarmigan, which is an elevation specialist, so it's living up in the alpine regions of mountainous areas, even in southern BC. Then you have the willow ptarmigan, that's going to live in higher latitudes, so further north, right, approaching kind of the tree line up in the tundra region. And then you have the rock ptarmigan, which lives in extreme environments, not only high latitudes, but also, again, high in elevation. So these species are extremely well adapted to their wintry conditions that they see for a good chunk of the year. So not only are their legs fully feathered, right, their feet are fully feathered as well, and this not only helps to insulate them from the cold conditions, but also functions as a form of a snowshoe, helping to displace their weight.
Boy, we're really fluking out. This is another beautiful big blue grouse. Look at the size of that bird. That is going to be some really good eating.
Taxidermy services provided by Hunters Union and Ray Wiens Taxidermy. And thanks to these other fine sponsors.
Well, we're at a local ranch that's near to my hometown here in Falkland in BC, and they've called us actually just a couple days ago that they've had 4 or 5 coyotes that have been hanging around. Calving season's only about a month away, so they asked us if we would come and maybe trim some of the dogs out. So we're gonna go get set up, and hopefully this morning goes well. As we got settled in, we're a little bit pre the breeding season, so I'm just using a coyote distress call. We do know, like I said, there's about 4 or 5 coyotes in the area that are regularly seen. So we're just going to do a bit of a set and be quiet and see what happens. If that doesn't work, we'll switch up the calls. So cross our fingers. Well, that didn't take long at all. I mean, we've barely been here for 5 minutes. I did a pup distress call on the Primos Alpha dog, and that coyote just came screaming in. I mean, she was barking, she was yelping, she was looking for whatever pup was in distress. It wasn't a very far poke when she first came out. She was only about maybe 200 yards out. I shot her at maybe 75, 80 yards, but looks like a beautiful, clean dog. Pretty excited about that. So let's go out and have a look and see what we got for our first BC coyote down. That's awesome. Well, 1 shell, 1 BC coyote. That was awesome. Well, here you go, my first coyote of the season. Beautiful looking dog. The hide's in incredible condition. I'll definitely be skinning this one out and using the hide for sure. That plan came together absolutely incredible. And you know, the most important part is, again, these are friends of ours that are from our local town. They're ranchers. Calving season is pretty close, as you heard me already say. And this is one of the 5 that's in the area. I'll let this area rest probably for a day or 2, and we'll come back and see if we can't thin it even more. But boy, I'll tell you, I'm one happy camper. Well, that's a wrap. It's minus 15. I'm going home and getting a hot coffee. Well, we're out on another nice winter morning here in British Columbia, right near my hometown again. We're on a ranch that we hunt quite a bit for coyotes. We've got a little bit, it's about -7 right now, almost no wind. We're just going to fire up the Primos Alpha Dog. I'm going to be using again the pup distress call because we are still about 2-3 weeks before the breeding season. So I'm going to just try worrying these dogs and getting them to come in a bit. But let's get it fired up. We'll get the cameras turned around and hopefully we'll be able to do some predator hunting this morning. Oh, that was quick. We literally just did one call set and that coyote came in running flat out.
This segment is brought to you by King's Camo. See the difference. Now, back to Bushnell's Trigger Effect.
Well, here you go. Absolutely incredible hunt. We're actually on our way home to call it a day, and on one of the ranches that I've got permission on, we spotted this coyote out there, and so I immediately got on my text and said, you know, hey Lisa, there's a coyote in your field, and she said, well, go for it. So it was about a 200-yard shot. Again, that Federal Trophy bonded tip ammunition is absolutely amazing. This dog was a nice, clean kill. Beautiful young female, great shape, would have been last year's pup. I couldn't be happier. So our predator season is going pretty good here in British Columbia for me right now. Well, we're out early morning here before light. This is a brand new property for me. I came out here the other day with one of my cameramen and we did a whole bunch of scouting, and we have a lot of coyotes in this area. And the other bonus prize that hopefully will happen is the local ranchers in the area and some of the locals have been seeing a couple wolves in the area. And as a matter of fact, a friend of ours sent me a trail cam picture that's taken only about 100 yards over my right shoulder that shows a black male and then your typical colored timber wolf. So we have an opportunity here to potentially get one of them, but I mean that would be a real luck thing. So we're going to settle down, be quiet. We got about 10 minutes before legal shooting, and hopefully we see some coyotes coming on in. Don't move. Denise, don't move. There's literally a coyote Well, folks, I can honestly say in all my years of coyote hunting, I have never had that happen. We were sitting here and earlier on we saw a coyote shooting light, and he kind of skirted and didn't think anything of it. When we got settled in, I threw off a female enticement call just to, let him know we're here. And we're sitting and watching it, and I hear crashing behind us, and literally 6 to 7 feet behind us there's a coyote standing there. So we're standing still thinking he doesn't know we're there. And then when he did, he ran down, literally grabbed my Primo's alpha dog call and ran off with it. And so I had to shoot the coyote down in the gully, not for the purpose of predator management, but so he didn't take my alpha dog. So anyways, we're gonna go down there right now because this is the craziest thing ever. I don't even know what to say. I'm beside myself. Well, folks, I'm not gonna touch anything, but there's the coyote, there's my alpha dog. We're hunting up on a hill up here. He came up, grabbed my alpha dog, ran down to here, and when I realized all of a sudden the thing in his mouth wasn't a rabbit or something like that, but I could hear my alpha dog call moving away from me, I shot him because this could have been a very expensive coyote, but that's unreal. I've never had this happen to me.
This has been a Thunder Boys production.